CBS News political director and Face the Nation moderator John Dickerson is with us. Good morning.
Good morning, Charlie. The king has returned.
And his court is in session.
Yes, right.
I had many questions for John. Most of them were about my tennis game while I was away. But I've been following this. It seems to me that it might be a problem in selling this if they can't tell you who's going to be covered.
Well, that's the big number. It's a simple thing to look at. How many people are going to be covered? And the White House and the president have said everybody who's on Obamacare will be covered. The president, in fact, has gone further. He's said everybody's going to be covered. And the reason that this is a problem is regardless of the number that CBO comes up with, it will come up with a number that will be bad. And whether that number is $1 million off or $2 million off, it centers in on the uncertainty surrounding any big piece of legislation like this. And uncertainty is what's driving the political pressure here that's giving this
Is
trouble.
it possible that the people who were part of the core supporters of Donald Trump will lose some of their coverage and rise up against it?
There's been plenty of analysis that shows that the Trump voter is the one that has the most to be uncertain and fearful about this. And also, you know, the Republican plan that Paul Ryan has put forward is a theory, and he's done a lot of work on this, but he's got to sell his colleagues on a theory that he believes in passionately and that he thinks is really going to cover more people. But those other colleagues have to face the political pressure of the Trump voters, of their own voters, and of these numbers, which are not going to look good when CBO comes out.
This was a big campaign promise. We saw a clip from a year ago where Donald Trump said it'll be cheaper, more people will be covered, it'll be better. Yet the Republicans have had 2 years to work on it. They're not on the same page.
Well, that's because have you ever tried to go out to dinner with your high school friends? You can agree that you're all going to dinner, but somebody wants Italian, somebody wants Chinese, somebody wants sushi, and that's where we are now. And then you've got CBO coming in and saying, no, you've got to all have, you know,
and
Malaysian food.
how can you predict a plan when you don't even know how much it's going to cost?
Well, that's the debate, and that's why the reason that's important is that you have Senator Tom Cotton and others saying, wait a minute, slow down, don't do this quickly. Why is that important? Well, A, you want to get it right, but B, if you pass a bill and it's been rushed through, then the critics have ammunition if it doesn't work out the way you've said to say, hey, no wonder it didn't work out well, you rushed it through.
Speaking of facts and evidence, on one other thing that you talked to Speaker Ryan about is whether he's seen any evidence of this charge that the president made, that President Obama wiretapped Trump Tower.
Paul Ryan is part of the Gang of Eight, which means he gets to see, along with the leaders of the intelligence committees in the Congress, the most sensitive information. So I asked him, did you see any proof that this wiretap that President Trump said exists? He said no. So flat out. So that's yet another person now who has said they've seen no evidence that a wiretap existed. And that's such an incendiary charge for the president to have made without apparent evidence.
How is that going to play itself out?
Well, it'll play itself out in that there are now two committees looking at this, and they will render a judgment, yay or nay, did this happen? But then also they'll be rendering a judgment on what President Trump, what level of evidence he had to make this claim. Did he have something to put it on, or was he just doing it on a whim?
Lastly, the president's budget is coming out on Thursday, and we're going to see a big change there.
A big change. That's his core message. Shrink government, stop having to do this, the stupid stuff, and put the money towards defense mainly. And that's his priorities. We're going to see that in this document.
Well, the Washington Post reports that the president's impending budget proposal is likely to include cuts to the federal workforce on a level unseen since their drawdown after World War II.
That was his priority in his very first meeting with congressional Republicans when he was a candidate, the cutting of the workforce.
Not just a snowstorm in Washington, an earthquake this week.
That's right.
All right, John Dickerson, thanks so much.
Thanks, Norah.